Let's get started, shall we? I meant to close Thunderbird quickly before I get notifications. There we go. How is everybody doing? How's things? How's life? How's the universe? How has your week been? What's everybody been up to? Uh, ba, 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 Hello, John. How you doing, man? I just got home. Nice. How are you doing? You've not been great the last few weeks. Um, Longest shift in a while, but 17 hours. Ouch. Nevertheless, work. Stupid day. Right. I'm in. Hello, Imars. Yeah, I just responded, but especially on for the response time, setting it to a smaller window helps with the FPS as well. Um, so 17 hours doing nothing. I mean, fair enough. Are you paid hourly or salary though? Because obviously, you know, one of those it's beneficial to work 17 hours, and one of those you're getting shafted. Um, my week has been well, it was slightly worse than usual going into today. Uh, but I've had some news that is technically positive news, but uh, it has really, really, really messed with me. um, yeah, yeah. What do you think? Oh, okay, so your salary then, rip. Hello Simon. How you doing, man? How's things? Great, give me some vicarious good news. Okay, well, the appointment that I had for the thing that I haven't um talked too much publicly about yet, uh, that was scheduled for uh a month on Wednesday, a month on Monday actually, um, has been moved up to Monday. That is good news. It means that I will have essentially a month's head start on what do you call it? The let's say let's call it treatment. Um, However, it's also a very big uh change, and I'm autistic. I'm really not good with change. And I thought that I had a month to sort of like mentally prepare to have this appointment, and then whatever. But I now have 4 days, including today. Um, so yeah. Have I tried the Asus 1440p 480 hertz? I am yet to try actually anything higher than 360 hertz. I think. Have I tried it? I might have tried a laptop that was that higher than 360, but normal displays and OLEDs, the 200 something is what I'm at. Good point. Thank you, John. It should be. It is there. It also does this thing where it breaks ever so occasionally. Um, yeah, no, it's not. It should be displaying both Twitch and what you call it, YouTube chats, and it does not appear to be. Um, is that? Well, I'm still logged in Twitch though. Clearly, like the way that I'm reading your Twitch chat is in Streamlabs OBS, so that must be fine. Why not? Hide and unhide it. Box. Mm-hmm. No, it is Streamlabs OBS that is that adds the chat in that should be here. Um, and I am because I am streaming to, like Streamlabs OBS gives me a Twitch window. So at very least like even if I was logged out of YouTube API, like Streamlabs OBS was logged out of the YouTube API, um it it should still show Twitch chat here, but the fact that it's showing neither um is means that it's not working right. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, I'm gonna remove it and try again. Oh, oh, there we go. Quick, someone chat. Oh, that's a horrible aspect ratio. That's why I changed it. Anything coming up yet? No? Um, ba 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 ba. 4070 Ti Super. I don't think that exists. Um, uh, or a 4080. So 4070 low or the 4080 Super. I that is quite a big price difference. You know, a little like almost $250 difference. I don't think that there's going to be that much of a price difference. That much of a performance difference between the two. So I would probably swing towards the 4070 Ti personally. I want lighter width. 300? Yeah, 300. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm changing the chat box settings of a chat box that isn't working. um, is 1440p 480Hz OLED peak PC gaming at the moment? I like technically yes, although most of the high refresh rate OLEDs are um uh WOLED, and I much prefer QD OLEDs instead. So yeah, my preference is definitely for uh QD where possible. Testing colors on OLEDs is a pain. Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah. Um, I have. Uh, is it easily accessible or is it buried? I have been. It's been a while, but I've been toying with the idea of making a color tool. Um, very simple first attempt. The problem is that it is so painfully complicated. Both from the sensors perspective, from an accuracy perspective, from a calibration perspective, it's just a pain in the ass, and I really don't have like 20 grand to spend on a single tool to be able to then verify that my £200 tool would be, you know, reasonable. So, um, yeah, it's been a while. It's gonna take a while. I kind of lost all hope currently. But when I have some time and motivation, I will look up more sensors, buy more sensors, try them out, find out they don't work, and try again. Da, 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 da. YouTube is about to make some changes. Hope you like them. Any channel that's under 500k can participate in the weekly top 100. Nice. I mean, I, I I doubt that I would be making an appearance. There are many more channels that are much more popular and you know get better interaction and things. But hey, it's cool. Hello Jim, how you doing, man? How's things? My old $49 Kmart vacuum died, so I want to buy a new one. They're all now stick vacs that are battery powered. I want to vacuum with a hose so I can clean a car. Bought a Miele unit and went to pay for it, and they already had it set for card payment. I wanted cash. That was a fiasco. I mean, first of all, Miele, highly recommended from all the people that I have heard that have them. Not necessarily vacuums, but products in general. And second, fair. We, at least in the UK, cash is an option, but it's definitely a like secondary option. Um, uh, ba, 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 ba. Hello, Ish. How you doing, man? How's things? um, thanks, John. They do actually. Like 20k subscribers. I was watching the raw data of the Asus and it has some overshoot, maximum of 7 RGB. Maybe it needs an update. That's really common for OLEDs. I still don't entirely know why, but it overshoots for a whole frame and then comes back down. It's really it's a strange behavior. I really need to like sit down with some like display engineers and just ask them a bunch of questions, because having been making the response time tools for 4 years at this point, um I have collated a lot of data and a lot of questions. So yeah, I am sorry that the chat box isn't working. I am trying. Yeah, I'm afraid I don't know. Nice one-ish. Suppose making an HDR test are very complicated. I haven't even got to that point yet. Uh, uh, so the problem with trying to do colors and like display brightness testing and stuff like that is that it is not A, simple, and B, even just on the color side of things, you have to deal with so many different like color spaces, ways of measuring or reporting color. Like if you want to be able to provide a delta E measurement, so a delta E is the three-dimensional distance between 2 points in a three-dimensional volumetric cloud of color points. So you need to convert your color data into CIE lab format, which is X comma Y. I guess it's two-dimensional. And then do the comparison to get the delta E for the colors. But for the color space, you need it in... It's been like probably 6 months since I last thought about this, so bear with me. There is another one that is XYZ and XYY. Does that make sense? Which are all different from RGB, although they're technically still the same. It's just RGB tends to be 8-bit, so 0 to 255, and times that by 3, and you get 16.7 million colors. But if you want, say 10-bit, you can technically just do 10-bit RGB color, which just gives you more, essentially decimal points on your colors. But you would probably want to use XYZ for that, because that does give you decimal points, gives you much more accuracy, much more a much wider range of colors. But obviously you can't just draw XYZ to the screen, you have to convert it to RGB instead. So yeah, that was a thing. That's just one of the one little single pin in a cloud of suffering that is trying to make your own color tool. So yeah, that was fun. I have to test around 25 monitors this year, and about OLEDs, I have a lot of questions. Maybe only an engineer can explain to me. Yeah. So lonely at Twitch, no one can hear me sob. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do about the chat. I can only apologize that Streamlabs OBS is not working. Yeah, I don't know. In like Streamlabs settings, there isn't accounts isn't one of them. Like I'm logged in with Twitch at least. I know that's working. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm afraid. Where are all the side buttons? Layout editor, studio mode, overlays, door, highlighter, recordings. These are all external. And a log out button, which I obviously don't want to press right now. Yeah. Sorry. You're using data color for your monitor testing. Yeah, a Spider X2 Ultra, but whatever the top one is, they sent me one. So yeah, I use their that for the moment. Although I have a Spider 5, Spider X, and Spider X2, and I've looked in all of them to see how they work. And the Spider 5 is actually really kind of interesting because the way that they do it is just standard photodiodes, the same way that sure. Like so this that the thing in the gold metal can there is called a photodiode. So basically it's a little solar panel, and as you expose light to it, it generates a current, and then the circuit that's on the other side over here will amplify that, turn it in, well, it will turn it into voltage because it's a transimpedance amplifier that then the microcontroller, or in this case actually the analog to digital converter, can pick up and then tell the microcontroller and then send it out via USB. Anyway, point is that that photodiode is receptive to a wide range of light. There's a wavelength band that it's receptive to, but you could shine blue light in it, and then you can shine green light in it, and it would still give you one light number, essentially. So what Datacolor did was they put little film filters over the various photodiodes so that they only accepted various colors, and then when they read from each photodiode, you then essentially get readings out of them of the various colors. Like you create your own little sensor basically, which is really quite clever. It's a bit of a bodge. It's probably not super accurate, but it's pretty cool. I do like it. I do like a bit of a bodge. Whereas the X2 uses a AMS Osram AS7264N sensor. And then the Spider X2 uses an AS, I think it's like 7343. I don't remember. Integrated sensor that has 16 photodiodes, doped photodiodes on board. So it is basically the same thing. It's just calibrated in a single package that you just query over I2C or UART. Yeah. Nintendo sued Palworld. I'm sure you know by now. They did. Although the interesting thing is that they didn't sue them for copyright or trademark infringement, because I'm pretty sure that the what are they, Powell what's the company called? It's like Playmate Games or something, or PAL Games, or I I'm not well, forgive me. The company that makes Powered will likely have considered that as you know what how illegal it actually was for what they're doing. Um, uh, but what Nintendo have done is sued them for patent infringement. Now, apparently, according to the Powerworld CEO, Nintendo have filed both for an injunction, which means to temporarily stop the sale of the game, basically, until they can get to court and decide who's right and who's wrong. Now, I don't know the Japanese legal system literally at all, so I don't know how likely that injunction is to happen. I do know that Microsoft has invested reasonably heavily in Palworld, and I think Sony just has as well. Oh yeah, I would normally point to the screen, but the chat isn't here because it's stupid and broken, and I'm sorry. But Capono says that Sony has. So I can't imagine that both Microsoft and Sony are going to be super happy with Nintendo, to the point where it wouldn't surprise me if Sony and Microsoft chucked in a couple of lawyers, to work on Howard's behalf, But yeah, the interesting thing is that supposedly Nintendo haven't told Palworld what patents Palworld are infringing upon. There's a lot of speculation around what they may or may not have patented and may or may not be in violation of. One of the suggestions is the like capture with a ball mechanic, specifically the whole like three wiggles pop out chance type thing. But yeah, we're really just gonna have to wait and see what the facts of the situation are before we can. I mean, we can already make up our mind and say that Nintendo is probably being a litigious ass, but the facts for Palworld. Well, basically in Japan, you first, you win. Yeah, I mean that's kind of a lot of places too. I don't know if there's a cheaper option than Kalman to test HDR performance. I mean, I don't want to spend $3,000. I don't blame you. As far as I'm aware, I'm not sure. Color performance is not something that I am. Because I tend to test gaming displays primarily. Realistically, any amount of color analysis that I do is better than the vast majority of people who are reviewing the displays, and is more than enough for the gamers who are buying a whatever monitor to mostly just play games on. If I was doing more serious creator focused pro displays, things like that, then I would be more concerned about it, and I would be more interested in also finding a not $3,000 solution. But as it stands, I'm not super sure, I'm afraid. Um, and no idea on anyone else, but I rotate between strawberry and blackberry jam in my fridge. Wait, why do I put a preserve in the fridge? Because I'm not all there, obviously. Oh no, you put jam in the fridge, yeah. Also, I'm pretty much a strawberry only gang kind of gal. Status report of Dr. Ray. Hope all the chat as well. Well, I hope all the chat as well. Um, the status report part is yeah. uh hmm. So last week I mentioned that I was taking did Chris, I'm going to kill you. Last week I told you that I was taking immunosuppressants. This week I am now no longer taking those immunosuppressants, because unfortunately, they made me very very ill, like nausea kind of ill, um, and there's only so much like self torture you can submit yourself to before you just go, nah, it's just not worth it. So yeah, I gave up on those. I'm unfortunately still coming off of them, so I still feel very sick currently. But you know, we'll get there. I also, as I mentioned, I was given the news, or I was technically given the option, but the appointment that was booked for a month from now is now happening on Monday, and while that in and of itself is good news, it's also it signifies a very big change, which yeah, I'm autistic, I don't like change, and uh, yeah, I thought I had more time than that to sort of mentally prepare, and I don't anymore. So yeah, that really threw me for a loop today. I had to take a diazepam because my heart was racing. I tried like napping. I physically couldn't. Uh, yeah, it wasn't well. Um, yeah. I just quit cold turkey, a medicine I've been taking for 11 years. It was very difficult. I, Christ, I mean, fair enough. Out of interest, what medication was it? Hmm. I've been taking omeprazole for almost a decade as well. Yeah, I had a duodenal stomach ulcer when I was 17. Um, I that was like 3 months of agonizing pain. I failed my A level maths exam because I was like basically sitting in like the standard hall, curled up over my desk, crying in pain while trying to answer A level maths questions that I was woefully underprepared for because I'd had a stomach ulcer for a month preceding that. Um, and I also had to delay my driving test by an extra month because it happened when I was 17. Right as I started, I was just in too much pain to to do to, to safely drive a car even with an instructor with me. So yeah, I'm causing a nuisance and I do not regret it. I went, when aren't you? Uh, is it actually coming through as? I mean, I left the chat open on purpose. Um, there you go. Haha. Uh, I don't mind telling you, but I don't feel comfortable saying what medication it was. Uh, that's totally fair. I mean, I am I am more of an open book than most. So, yeah, no, that Totally fair. No worries. Um, hello, yet another user. How you doing, man? How's things? How have you been? Glad to have you. Um, I have some research to try and find a solution for HDR testing, but there isn't. I think HCFR is also not HDR compatible. Fair. What? HDR is essentially just what you call it? Well, high dynamic range, obviously, but it is essentially just having your uh like contrast cranked, essentially, isn't it? So surely it would be feasible. I don't know. I'm struggling to in my drug addled brain, trying to work out why testing HDR, at least on the sensor side of things, like maybe the software is a pain in the ass. I haven't even thought about it yet. Um, but uh, yeah, maybe uh, like I can't imagine why the sensor it would be difficult for the sensor to do, unless you're talking about the accuracy or the like resolution essentially. Thank you, Oddball. Subscribe for 4 months. You should have a notification and a chat message pop up and things, on the stream. But Streamlabs OBS is being a dick. uh, so I apologize, but it's not working today. Woo. I'm sure that if I were to like close Streamlabs OBS and like open it again, whatever, it'd probably be fine. But I'm currently streaming, so I can't. Oh wow. To change the subject, I'm thinking about buying another motor jacket, which would serve as a casual one as well, bomber style. Issue is I have 3 casual and 5 motor ones. Right, look, it's your money, but did you just spend 17 hours being shafted at work so that you can have a ninth jacket? One time I turned HDR on my son's monitor and he asked me to turn it off. I mean, I don't blame him. HDR, especially on Windows, is trash. It really is. Um, so yeah, I don't turn HDR on basically ever unless I'm actively testing a monitor or whatever. I'm not well. I hate it. Uh, so yes, I mean it's totally up to you, bro. We won't judge you at all. Have you seen the GN report on EK? I have. I mean, first of all, I absolutely love that investigative journalism is alive and well, especially on YouTube of all places. Fantastic. Um, Second of all, man, that's rough. Also, third of all, I know Dave Alcock, their former PR manager for EMEA, Europe at least, UK at very least. Um, I've known him for many years. When did I first meet him? Working. He used to work at Alpha Cool. That's why I have a load of water cooling stuff, because I basically just message him like, "Hey, I'm thinking of doing a water cooling project. Can I have some stuff?" No, what Pascal first worked at. Pascal is an outrageously like cool dude. Um, in the like popular kid sense of the word. I'm pretty sure he still works for Corsair, although I haven't. I think he's like moved up in the ranks at Corsair, which means he doesn't deal with the riffraff like me anymore. um, Yeah, Pascal used to work at Alpha Cool and then moved to Corsair, and I think Dave moved in after him. I'm sure that I've known Dave from longer than Alpha Cool though. Anyway, he's a really cool guy. And yeah, it's absolutely horrible that EK like shafted him so badly. With literally not paying him for what 3 months. Um, and yeah, it's just 3 stars for me, John. I'm afraid. Can't see the link. Ah, but yeah. So first of all, Dave, you won't be watching, but I wish you all the best, and I hope that your new job at Height is doing well, and that you can get out from under the mortgage shit soon. I mean, it's whatever fixed term, isn't it? But anyway, and I hope that well, in an ideal world, you could class action EK on that for not paying you. I mean, could you take EK to small claims court now that you're in now that you're at Height and you have like job security? Anyway, but the actual report itself, beyond including clips of my my friends or at least acquaintances, is yeah. I mean, I would say that it's shocking, but it's not because I watched the last two videos. um, so not really that shocking, but it is. It's sad more than anything. It's sad that they've tried to lash out at people as well. Um, and so yeah, sad. Uh, da, 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 da. I've only had a good HDR experience in Sea of Thieves. Okay. I'm still saving in other places, still with a used 8700K and 2017 non-S. Nice. Still chugging Jedi Survivor, a medium quality performance DLSS at 3440 by 1440, 60 to 70 FPS. I mean, yeah. Fair. I've tried the other PC to resize the window. It's now reaching 480 hertz. Maybe 2060 is not powerful enough to run the 480 hertz screen. I can't say for sure. Actually, no. No. Wait. What was your other GPU? 3080 Ti. No, the problem is display stream compression. The 2060 doesn't support display stream compression, which is why it is probably not running right. Or at least I don't think it does. I think you need 30 or 40 series for DSC, especially at 480 hertz, especially at 1440p to work, even over DisplayPort. If I remember rightly. Hello, TC. How you doing? How's things? Good to have you. And by the way, I love the hot takes video. Thanks. It was a bit of a I had the idea for the first point, the whole you should probably buy a higher end CPU than you should GPU at first, like sort of sacrifice a bit of out of the gate performance because you know that you're gonna upgrade the GPU beforehand. And then I was like, that could be an interest or a kind of funny, let's call it high interaction video. And yeah, it does support DSC. Okay, fair. What if I might I might be thinking of the 10 series actually. I have a 1080 Ti that I use for a lot of well, I used to use for a lot of testing, and then I just moved straight to the 30 series. Maybe that's it. But either way, fair play. Hope you can make it work at least enough. I don't know if you know, but you can press the keyboard number row. One is 1000 FPS limit. Then I think it's 360, 140, 170, 165, 144, 120, 175, 60. And then the number pad keys, I think it's 0 and 1 do 480 and 540. I think. So yeah, you can manually set it, and then page up and page down. Page up turns VSync on, page down turns VSync off, or you can use V to toggle VSync on and off as well. With the Unreal Engine window open. Hello Beer. Hey there, man. How's things? Remembering if mentioning about the simple card you can turn off drives. It was for a cheap way to do backup files. Like a NAS. I did come across stupid. No. I see it. Windows working is very good, so that's the solution now. Yeah, fair. I'm yucky. Hey, it works. I do have my own DirectX code for the latency stuff, but Unreal is technically more. Well, it's more and less reliable, and that's the problem. Yeah, I do have like the DirectX code can do all of the colors that the DirectX thing can do, and it can also do the whole FPS mode selection, like FPS limits. I think VSync wasn't working right when I last tried, which was part of the problem. And it doesn't support a windowed mode, which, especially for testing OLEDs, is pretty important. You know, technically speaking, having at very least a bare bones version made in something like Godot, or Godot, whatever you want to, however it's pronounced, would actually be quite good, because then that means it should be easier to do cross compatibility, which I would really like to do, but yeah. No worries, Amos. I'll catch you probably in the Discord. But the one nice thing about it is it does allow reasonably quality scaling to run a fairly wide range of hardware. It does, although we're talking about the response time tool, which is just a menu screen that flashes colors at you. So it's not very intensive anyway. With a small enough window size, it will do 1000 FPS. Just fine. Do you want to make a 12 monitor video wall? No worries, DT. I mean, you're not wrong. It's a perfectly valid point to bring up. The cross compatibility is also pretty good for Unreal. You can just package it for, well, everything really, and it just kind of works. Yeah. Got 2 Matrox 6 mini DP cards you could use. Of course you do. Andy, can you remake Cruelty Squad in Unreal for me? That'll be a no. For many, many reasons. I will refuse to elaborate. So BR, was there more to your message there? And I don't remember. I mean, I must admit that my brain is just a big pile of headache and fog at the moment. So pinch yourself. but perhaps a slightly different explanation of what it is you're looking for. I might jog some memories. Yeah. You pick up some old mining rigs for a really cheap, loaded down with mining GPUs. Yeah, yeah, risky. I mean, I guess if it's only doing essentially digital signage, who cares? But yeah, yeah, probably not the best idea. And fair play essentialist. I don't know that I know the game, um, and by that I mean I don't know the game. Although I have Steam open, so if it pops up on the Steam featured and recommended, I can look at the title. Any cure for a partner bottleneck? We're doing good. She just can't keep up. Oh dear. Oh dear. I mean the appropriate answer to that is that you need to level her up, so that you know you're both raising each other. Kind of it's pretty difficult to upgrade. If you know Chinese, you can buy RTX 3080s for like $150 currently. I mean, fair enough, but also nah, I'm good. Doesn't sound like the best of ideas. Have that Adam whatever, uh, Adam Jensen or something, whatever his name is. Nah, honey, I'm good. Oh, stuck in my head now. Oh yeah, my own stuff. I re. Sorry, live motorcycle. I redesigned the bed cooler PCBs. This is the non newest one. The newest one will be here tomorrow. Fixing my level shifter problem. Also fixing or improving my capacitors, improving the resistors. Realizing so one of the things that I bought was this water cooling temperature sensor. So it's just a little like stopper plug with a temperature sensor rammed in the back of it. Just standard G1 quarter, threads into the reservoir, and then I can check the fluid temperature, see how what you call it, how good like how the heating and cooling is going inside the loop, which is nice. The thing is that I thought this was a thermocouple thermal probe K type. And so I spec'd these boards to have that little chip on it, which, if I turn it the right way, is a Max 6675, which does thermocouple things. The problem is that this is not a thermocouple, it's an NTC, a thermistor, a resistor that changes its resistance depending on how hot it is. And yeah, so I didn't need that. I just needed one resistor to tie it to power and just measure the voltage. So yeah, I fixed that. Also, the fan headers for the pump and case fans. So it turns out that while you can just the outermost pin is ground. The next one's 12 volts. That one's signal or tachometer, and that one is PWM in. The tachometer one needs to be pulled high through a resistor to actually give you the pulses out, and then the PWM one is actually fine. You can send just 3.3 volts in, which is what I'm doing for the pulse width modulation. However, I need to change the code on the ESP32 board that I'm using. Nice little Feather S3. to actually output proper PWM for that, because right now it should be doing it 25,000 times a second. Right now it's doing it every 5 seconds. But yeah. Does it shock you with 220 volts if you pee the bed? Happily no. Also, it'd be 200 and... in fact, actually, do you know what? I have so many smart things, and like smart plugs, that I can tell you my exact home voltage, which is far too nerdy. And yeah, I love it. 247 volts RMS right now. Or 249, actually, right next to my switchboard. The one down the end on a Spurs. Yeah, 249 volts. Which is technically bad, especially for inductive stuff. But yeah. I mean, the lowest the voltage has gotten, it ever so slightly dipped. Exactly 240 at 1 p.m. today. Or the other one dropped to 238. Yeah. We have 246 here at the wall. Yeah. It tends to do with the load factor, because they care less about the voltage than they do the frequency. So the frequency stays very stable at 49.99995, whatever it is, hertz. Right around 50 hertz, but the voltage tends to fluctuate depending on the load on the network, and they at least we have a number of local power sources, including a coal-fired power plant, that's not active most of the time, and is being shut down very soon. But they tend to keep it high, so that when a large load does start, they have the headroom and they have the time to then ramp up things like gas and coal and nuclear power plants. Although we do need more energy, like grid scale storage, for the stuff like wind, solar, and tidal. Tidal is actually is pretty decent in the UK for, especially up in around Scotland. Would the UK grid cope if half the people got electric cars? Short answer, no. Long answer, depends if they can stagger the charging. More storage is needed, yeah. Well, the thing about the whole like kettles when EastEnders finishes, whatever, is that was actually a legitimate phenomenon, but it's almost gone now, because of things like streaming and just the internet in general. There are very few big, like, nationwide, literally everybody is doing this things, and so yeah, like, a bunch of people getting home after a commute. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't commute anymore. A lot of people work from home now, so that's gone. Like, you watch your shows during work hours. Yeah, energy, like, consumption has overall gone up, obviously, as we not only add more electrical devices into our lives, but electrify existing devices, like boilers turn into heat pumps. And while heat pumps are very efficient and are, can be 3, 4, 5 times as efficient as per kilowatt than compared to gas, it's still electricity instead of gas you're using, right? And so, we're electrifying things like that. We're electrifying our cooking appliances, our hobs, and our ovens. It's kind of rare to see a gas oven these days. I have one, but it's kind of rare in the UK, especially on newer builds, whatever. You have an electric fan-assisted oven. I think that the last one that I currently really don't want to get rid of is water heating. Although even then, as long as you have a well-designed tank system, it really doesn't matter that much. So yeah. Anyway, energy consumption has gone up, but predictable load, uh, or predictable spike loads like that whole put the kettle on it, you know, on the ad breaks, that's gone. At least as I understand it, anyway. I'm not actually a don't work at a power plant or for the national grid, but that's my understanding anyway. Electric is still 6 times more expensive than gas for me, so heat pump will not gain anything. Yeah. Is it 6? It should be 3 times, not 6. Because actually my rates just changed, or my rates are about to change. I think it's 9p per kilowatt for gas. Or maybe it's 7p. Hold on, let me. Oh, you know. As soon as the email loads. Oh no, it's 5p. That's going to 6p. Versus 23p per kilowatt hour for gas. You should be paying like 20p for electricity. And yeah, 5 or 6p. I finally switched off economy 7 and more reasonable 24p for electricity. I mean, I've been a pay-as-you-go British Gas customer since I moved here. I will at some point switch to the standard way of billing, so that I don't have to bother topping up anymore. But yeah, especially now that they can't charge different prices, there isn't really much of a price incentive for me to change right now. If I had an electric car, there'd be a big difference. And if I had solar, there'd be a big difference, especially because like you can, with a solar battery system, especially in things like winter, you can use the whole like variable tariff. So you could charge your battery from the grid, at night when electricity is like 6p, 7p per kilowatt hour, and then use it throughout the day when solar might not top it up enough, might just keep it charged, whatever, etc. But yeah, what about your electric powered wheelchair with RGBs? I never end up doing that because I never ended up needing it. But I don't know. I will inevitably need one day, and I am enough of a nerd to consider it. I'm in Texas, so it's a little bit different. Yeah, I mean, what's funny is that because of the internet, I know a worrying amount about your electricity grid, and it, it's not great because you're not connected to the national grid, and not to be too political, but you seem to give companies more rights than people. And you seem to prefer companies screwing you over rather than like your government like helping you and like protecting you from being screwed over. So yeah, it doesn't sound like a great deal you've got there, if I'm being very British but also honest. Although you will likely have much cheaper rates, that's for sure. Although also higher consumption, especially with air conditioning. Although air conditioning isn't that bad. One of the interesting things in the UK is that our incoming supply is always fused. I mean, it's always fused probably everywhere anyway. Well, not okay, not everywhere. I know that it's not everywhere, but for example, in the US, it's probably fused as well. But the standard fuse is 100 amp service. Although, especially in older properties like this one, it's quite common for it to be as low as 60 amps. Now, I'm happy at 80 amps just through the wall. But if I wanted, say, electric car charger, and something like an induction hob and an oven, and then a heat pump, then you're kind of into problem territory. With 80 amp service. Although newer properties, like new builds, often have three phase going into the whole place. Some of them have three phase going into your own box, but perhaps only one of them is actually tapped off. And a lot of them, what's kind of interesting is that what the way that power generation works is you tend to have three phases coming out of your turbines. So for like a coal power station, what you have is a gas a boiler that boils the coal, burns the coal to boil the water, turn it into superheated steam to pass it through a turbine, which not only extracts the energy from the speed of the steam, but also the temperature of the steam to make it spin round, which helps condense it back into a liquid and then gets pumped back into the fire to be reheated. And when that turbine turns, it turns a generator, and that generator has three. I can never do it with two hands. It has three poles. And depending on when the magnet swings by, depends on which of those poles is getting electricity, and that the fact that it's swinging by is what causes the alternating current. And what you tend to do is load balance between those. So you don't want all of your load on a single phase, because then the other ones aren't doing anything and it's imbalanced, and you'll break the turbine or the generator. So what you tend to do is split up. Now, what a lot of earlier buildings do is have the each like neighborhood, just three phase goes into the neighborhood, and then they just take off one phase for that group of houses, one phase for that group of houses, one phase for that group of houses. But what these newer builds are doing is actually supplying you three phases that you can use all three of them for various circuits in your house to help load balance even individually, which I thought was interesting. US wall voltage is 110, meaning higher amps, so you can make cables quite toasty. Harder to get 3 kilowatt devices off a mains plug. So they do actually have 220 volts going to the house. The wire that comes to the house is 220 volts, and then what they do is they create a central tap that gives you 110 and 110, so you get two sets of 110 circuits, but you do also have 220 volt for things like washer dryers. Come with a special like 4-pin plug or whatever, or a bigger plug at very least. But the 110 devices are limited to, I think it's 15 amps, or maybe it's 18 amps. For context, in the UK, we're limited to 13 amps per plug. So we can do 3 kilowatts for a device, but Americans can only do 1.8, I think, something like that. Which means that if you have an electric kettle, for example, in America, it takes way longer to boil water than it does in the UK or Europe. I watch far too many YouTube videos. Technology Connections is a hell of a drug, and you should watch that channel. He's great. It's very autistic. I love it. Yeah, it's 110 at the plug. Unless you have, yeah. It kind of is two phase, but it's the same phase split in half, which is weird. But go with it or you'll die. Romania's 14 cents, euros cents per kilowatt hour. Interesting. That's still more expensive than 14 American cents, which I think is probably about 10 pence, versus probably 13 pence per kilowatt hour. But it's still way cheaper than ours, because ours is currently 21 pence, so probably 25, 26 cents in American cents. Yeah, it's a lot, and it's going up to 23, 24, 23. But yeah, fun times. Anyway, I think I'm ready to go to bed. um, so, so I'm gonna leave it there. And yeah. They are I haven't yet. They've been kind of busy, and I don't blame them. Yeah. Anyway, I will catch you guys later. I hope you all have a good week. I hope you all still stay safe. Hope you all have fun. Videos tomorrow, Monday, as always. And yeah, I'm tired. Good night.